5 days ago, I had an idea for a mobile app, and yesterday it made its first dollar. From idea to building it to live on the App Store within 5 days, and it making money. Today, I want to share with you how I did it and how you might do something similar, even if it's not that quick, because I did get lucky. That is a large part of this. And maybe this will be inspiring or helpful for also how I'm going to get it to the next level and not just a one-time lucky viral post that kind of helped boost it in the first 3 hours it was live on the App Store. So let's dive in. First things first. If we look here, this is my launch tweet. I put it on Twitter. I do have quite a bit of followers on Twitter now, actually. So I didn't expect this, though, for it to get 500,000 views, 1,000 likes, a bunch of replies. Basically, just sharing with people what I'm doing. That's what I do on Twitter, and not my target audience directly. Usually those people that I would expect to use this app, a couples app, is more on Instagram and TikTok. However, this was interesting. So I basically made this for me and my fiance. I thought it was a cool app. I started it last Wednesday, and it was done in about 3 days. I'll show you how I coded it and my process for that in a second. But first things first, it's a couples app. This is what it looks like in the App Store, and you can set widgets based on the love letters. They call them love letters that you send to your partner. There's also check-ins and a bunch of other cool features. Here's the core features. If you want to read it, pause the video. They're all there. But it doesn't really matter if you're watching this video. You probably don't care. However, what you do care about is how did this launch tweet get 500,000 views? And that is by me tweeting about it, because I do tweet about what I build. A lot of people are interested in that. It's cool, it's interesting, and it makes sense. And also tweeting about how the results came in 3 hours after the app went live. Got 100 downloads, 11 trials started, and someone bought a yearly sub for $21 in profit. So that was pretty interesting. Right now, we are sitting at, let me refresh, $42 in proceeds, 460 downloads, and 36 conversions. 2 of these are yearly subs, 34 of these are trial starts. A lot of these trial starts have canceled. Not all of them, but quite a bit of them. I would say 50% or more of them have canceled. So maybe 15 active trials at best. Pretty good though for what we have here. The trials are all for weekly at $4.99 USD a week. And I do have plans on marketing on TikTok, and I've started that, but those haven't really picked up at all. All of these numbers you're seeing here is from these Twitter posts of me just building in public, and probably is not replicable in this way. However, I do have good news. There is a system that I have used to grow apps to 100,000 downloads before, which should help if you're watching this video and you're curious. But more on app building first. How did I build this app? Well, I used Xcode. So if you don't have a Mac, you can use Expo and React Native. I've used 3 other apps. I built them with that framework. You don't need a Mac for that. You probably should have a physical iPhone if you want to test things on iOS before you push it. Same for Android. But I built this app in Swift, which is on Xcode, and I didn't do a single line of code. So I opened Cursor, and I have Claude Code in Cursor. I didn't use Cursor. I have the directory of the project here on the left, and then I ask it to do things, build things here, and then it started building the app out. Obviously, there's problems I ran into, but this is the first time I used Swift, and I had very little problems that I couldn't just search up or ask Claude, and Claude was very good at making the UI, making the things I want. Basically, first try, and it does take longer to tweak, because every time I make a change, I have to rebuild the project here. I think there's a preview function, but I don't know how to use it in Xcode, so I just rebuilt the project, and adding widgets was buggy too, but 3 days it took me with Claude. I didn't touch a single line of code, and I did double check all the security rules for Firebase, make sure that only owners could access their data and so on and so forth, boring stuff. But yeah, 3 days it took me from an idea to actually having the app complete, and I honestly might as well run it and show you guys. While that's building though, I will show you basically what I'm starting to do on TikTok. So this is my fiance's TikTok. She's made a TikTok about the app. I'm gonna maybe get her to make some more. We'll see. But right now, basically making couples content. I made 2 other TikToks and warmed them up, and I made this TikTok. Basically, pretty simple, but it's an ad. I've realized this video is probably not going to go anywhere because, it's a direct ad. People realize that it's for the app and it's not something they might connect with. I am working on iterating on content. So here is another piece of content I made. It doesn't directly mention the app. And like this one, but these don't perform very well because they're not like super viral. However, I'm testing out content formats, and that is what brings me to how I'm going to scale this, which is once I find a content format. I've done this before. I kind of go over it multiple times. So this is a content format that worked for my other app, Curiosity Quench. Helped me get to over 100,000 downloads. This format specifically probably brought in about 30 to 50,000 of those downloads. And this is millions of views on a bunch of these simple things. Obviously, these don't convert as well because there's just a call to action right here in the caption. But this is a format that worked, that I repeated over and over again once I found that it worked, and it brought in downloads. So that's what I'm aiming to do with this app and not just rely on Twitter traffic. And then eventually I will scale that by making the videos, like a bunch of those videos of that format that works, and posting them automatically, once or twice a day to TikTok and Instagram and wherever else through Postbridge. And this is the app that I've made. This is the app that I made for myself to scale my mobile apps, which is why I'm making another mobile app. And as you can see, I've been posting to this format a long time. It doesn't work as well anymore because I haven't iterated on it. It's kind of been milked dry. But that's the idea of what my process is to grow this. First, find a format that works, like one of these, and then use it. Obviously, it's going to be different than this, to continue to iterate on it and make it better and make videos of that same format that perform and convert to downloads, paying downloads. That's pretty key because this one didn't do the best at that. And then, scale it because I don't have all the time in the world to post to these manually. Once my content's performing good, posting manually, scale it using Postbridge. So that's the process there. And I think the build is ready. So let's go check it out. And then for this build, we'll see here. This is the app. Basically, you have a love box, which is like where affections, you can send affections, and love notes go to. I can't actually add the doodle because I don't have Premium on the simulator right now because I'm not logged into the right account. So I can't show you that. But you can get doodles, like see here, someone can doodle. You can set this as your widget, and then it's going to set as the widget in the home screen. So as you can see here, you can edit the widget. There's like checking questions and stuff. So that's the app. Claude made this really easily. Like obviously I had to give it a lot of direction, but it did a pretty good job at making what I wanted, and it looks clean. It all functions pretty well. Obviously there's bugs with adding security rules and what doesn't work and adding certain features that just don't look good in certain areas and all this fine tuning, but about 6 to 8 hours a day for 3 days. And this is the final product. Adding in check-ins and a reminder system was really nice. You can see, weekly check-ins, you can get reminded to do check-ins. Simple things, but that is basically the app. It's not a super complex app. It's just an app that has some utility, some funness to it if you have a partner. And I think it's pretty cool. But yeah, that is the app. That is my plan. And that is how you maybe could do something similar. Use Claude Code or Cursor, open up the Xcode project directory, and start asking it to build something. First, make the project in Xcode just so you have a base idea. I worked in test mode on a test bundle at first, and then later I asked Claude to help me migrate off of test mode into and get ready for production. It gave me a lot of steps. Another thing that is going to take some time is app screens. And likely you're going to get rejected from review for not having terms of service and privacy policy set up properly, or there's a million things you get rejected for. I did get lucky. I got through first try because I've done it before. But if you want to build an app, you definitely can. If you already have an app, then check out my pinned tweet. I'll link it on Twitter. It's exactly basically a detailed outline of how I find different formats and stuff to grow mobile consumer apps with. It doesn't really work for business to business. I think that's a whole different monster. So note that. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's what I've been working on. The app is kind of crazy that it's already at 450 plus downloads, and bunch of people have started a trial, and these are people from Twitter. These aren't people that I necessarily thought would be my target audience. So it's going really well. But that's an update, and that's basically what I did in the last week And most of this is actually to serve myself as a case study for Postbridge, because if I can't grow my own mobile app through Postbridge, how can I expect to help other people grow too? So that's the idea. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Have a good day. See you guys in the next one. Peace.